Imagine a city where East truly meets West. A place where ancient traditions stand side by side with cutting-edge skyscrapers, and where the hustle of one of the world's most powerful financial hubs is contrasted by the echoes of its colonial past. Welcome to Hong Kong, a vibrant city of 7.3 million people, rich in culture and wealth, home to over 129,000 millionaires and 32 billionaires. But beneath its shimmering skyline lies a complex and often contentious relationship with its motherland, China. Once a British colony, now a special administrative region under the One Country, Two Systems framework, Hong Kong was promised a high degree of autonomy. But as the years have passed, that autonomy is slipping away, piece by piece. So how did we get here? And how does Hong Kong's government actually work? And most importantly, what does the future hold for this city caught between two worlds? You're watching How Countries Work. Let's find out. Hong Kong is a very unique part of China. Located to the east of the Pearl River estuary on the southern coast, it's surrounded by the Chinese Guangdong province to the north and the South China Sea to the east, south, and west. Hong Kong itself includes several areas: Hong Kong Island, the Kowloon Peninsula, the New Territories, Lantau Island, and other islands as well. In 1997, Hong Kong officially became a part of China again, but with a special status. So why was it not already a part of China, you might ask? Well, before the British came in the 1800s, Hong Kong was pretty much just a small fishing island. It wasn't ideal for populations because it lacked good land and water, was hilly, and was known for pirates. But British traders saw its potential as a safe place to anchor their ships, with its deep waters making it a naturally great harbour. After losing the First Opium War in 1841, which was a conflict driven by Britain's desire to continue the opium trade within China, which was devastating for the Chinese population, Imperial China had to cede Hong Kong Island to Britain as a colony under the Treaty of Nanking. This was further expanded after the Second Opium War, where China also ceded the southern Kowloon Peninsula. And finally, in 1898, the New Territories were leased to Britain for 99 years. Completely rent-free, I should add. During the British rule, Hong Kong transformed from a collection of small fishing villages to a thriving international port and financial centre. The British developed their colony according to Western economic and political structures. This entrenched within Hong Kong its own economic and legal system, distinct from the mainland. Its proximity to China, Deepwater Harbour, as well as its business-friendly environment and fair legal system helped transform it into one of the world's leading financial hubs. However, in the late 1970s, with the end of the 99-year lease of the New Territories in sight, there was talk about the future of the region. In 1984, the British and Chinese signed a joint declaration. The declaration stated that China would take back all of Hong Kong starting from July 1st, 1997. The countries settled that while Hong Kong would be a part of China, it would still have its own government, laws, and legal system for 50 more years. A framework called One Country, Two Systems. And that's what happened. China took back Hong Kong under its control on July 1st, 1997 under the One Country, Two Systems framework, which is where we find ourselves today. So how does Hong Kong's political system work? The One Country, Two Systems framework is written in the Hong Kong Basic Law, which is like its own mini constitution. Under the Basic Law, Hong Kong is a special administrative region of China. Theoretically, Hong Kong maintains a high degree of autonomy and has its own legal system separate from mainland China. The Basic Law also protects the rights of the people in Hong Kong, like freedom of speech and to protest. These rights are far different from those in the mainland. Again, these protections are supposed to last for at least 50 years, but that's not exactly the case. In Hong Kong, as a part of China, the head of state is the President of China, but governance revolves around the Chief Executive, who serves as the head of government for the territory. The Chief Executive manages the day-to-day running of Hong Kong, approves legislation and budgets, enacts laws, and issues executive directives. The Chief Executive is supported by the Executive Council, or EXCO, an advisory body that assists in policymaking. EXCO members provide counsel to the Chief Executive on major policy decisions, but the council itself does not wield direct administrative power over government departments. Separate from EXCO, there are secretaries who manage various policy bureaus overseeing different aspects of the territory's administration, such as education, health, security, and finance. Currently, the Chief Executive is elected by an election committee, composed of representatives from various industries in Hong Kong. Now, remember this election committee because we're going to be talking a lot more about them. Once elected, the national Chinese government officially appoints the chief executive, who serves a 5-year term, eligible for 1 re-election. The legislative branch in Hong Kong is known as the Legislative Council, or LegCo. It is a unicameral body, meaning it only has one house with members usually serving 4-year terms. The LegCo also holds considerable authority, including crafting and amending laws, approving budgets and taxes, appointing senior judges, and even having the power to impeach the chief executive. Legislative elections in Hong Kong are conducted in a manner distinct from those in Western democracies. With 90 seats in the Legislative Council in total, 40 are filled by MPs chosen through the election committee, 30 represent various interest groups like business and trade, and just 20 are directly elected by the public. This hybrid system is designed to balance various interests, but it has increasingly tilted towards favouring pro-Beijing candidates. In Hong Kong, while there are various political parties on the typical left-wing and right-wing spectrum, two major factions hold sway: the pro-democracy and the pro-Beijing groups. The pro-democracy faction in Hong Kong advocates for greater democratic freedoms, political representation, and autonomy from Beijing. They support universal suffrage, civil liberties, and maintaining the region's distinct identity within the one country, two systems framework. Conversely, the pro-Beijing faction aligns closely with the central government in China, supporting policies that strengthen Hong Kong's integration from the mainland and often prioritizing stability and economic prosperity over democratic reforms. It's these two factions that represent the broader political divide in Hong Kong. Historically, pro-democratic candidates enjoyed success in elections since 1997, particularly in directly elected seats, giving them the ability to form a significant veto bloc. However, recent changes in 2021 have made it almost impossible for pro-democracy candidates to get elected to the Legislative Council. And finally, with the judicial system, Hong Kong's legal system is rooted in the common law tradition, inherited from its time as a British colony. It operates independently under the one country, two systems framework as codified in the Basic Law. This system emphasizes the rule of law, judicial independence, and the protection of individual rights, with decisions often based on judicial precedents. The legal system in mainland China is characterized by the dominance of the Communist Party, where courts are not independent and the law is often subordinate to party directives. While Hong Kong courts can review and potentially strike down government actions that violate the Basic Law, the judiciary in mainland China does not have this power, and the rule of law is applied in a manner that prioritizes state and party interests. This robust legal framework is key to what made Hong Kong an attractive financial center and a prime destination for international investment, offering a predictable and transparent environment that contrasts sharply with mainland China's legal system. But again, this is changing, which brings us to the expanding role of the election committee and Beijing's growing influence. In Hong Kong, the vast majority of government positions are not decided by the people. Instead, they are determined by the election committee, which we've been talking about. The election committee is a body of 1,500 members representing various professional and social sectors of Hong Kong. Overall, the selection process for the election committee is designed to ensure that the members are representative of Hong Kong's various professional and social groups. However, over time, the committee has become more and more pro-Beijing. Initially, Hong Kong's elections allowed for more balanced representation. The Legislative Council was once composed of 50% direct election seats. It's this system that provided a strong voice for pro-democracy candidates. However, the 2021 electoral reforms were a turning point. Direct election seats were reduced to make up only 20 of 90 seats, just 22% of the LegCo. In addition, a newly established vetting committee was introduced to screen potential candidates, ensuring that only those viewed as patriots could be elected to key positions. The election committee, which already played a significant role in selecting the chief executive and many LegCo members, saw its influence expand even further, now in a position, directly and indirectly, to select almost all the members of the LegCo. It is this shift that has resulted in a near total exclusion of pro-democracy candidates from the political process. Where they once held a significant voting bloc, they now have little to no representation in the government. The Legislative Council, which once reflected a broader spectrum of political views, is now completely dominated by pro-Beijing members, holding 89 of 90 seats. And this is all in addition to the imposition of a controversial national security law in 2020. The National Security Law of 2020, imposed by Beijing on Hong Kong, criminalizes acts of secession, subversion, terrorism, and collusion with foreign forces, with severe penalties including life imprisonment. The law grants mainland Chinese authorities significant power within Hong Kong, including the establishment of new security agencies that operate outside of the local legal system. The law also gives the chief executive of Hong Kong the power to appoint specific judges for certain cases, and even allows for some cases to be transferred over to the mainland. The law is widely criticized for undermining Hong Kong's autonomy and eroding civil liberties, having already been used to arrest pro-democracy activists, limit freedom of speech, and restrict press freedoms. It's all in contrast to the rights the basic law is supposed to protect. Once a beacon of press freedom and peaceful protest, Hong Kong has seen its rankings plummet on global indices. The city's unique character, once defined by its autonomy and openness, is now under threat. The 2019 protests, sparked by a controversial extradition bill, were a clear indication of the growing discontent among Hong Kongers. The violent clashes that followed highlighted the deepening divide between the people of Hong Kong and the mainland government. With the National Security Law of 2020 and the election rule changes of 2021, Beijing has almost entirely solidified its control, leading many to believe that the idea of one country, two systems is now just merely a facade. Now, it must be said that from Beijing's perspective, these laws are a necessary measure to restore order and stability in Hong Kong following the widespread protests of 2019, which was seen as a threat to national sovereignty and unity. The Chinese government argues that the law is essential for safeguarding national security, preventing foreign interference, and ensuring the long-term prosperity of Hong Kong within the one country, two systems framework. Additionally, Beijing rightfully views Hong Kong as an integral part of China, having been forcibly taken by the British in the 19th century during the Opium Wars. For Beijing, the laws are a way to reclaim full sovereignty and protect the region from separatist movements and external destabilization efforts. So, in conclusion, Hong Kong's history is one of resilience and adaptability, qualities that have allowed it to thrive despite numerous challenges. But a large part of what made Hong Kong successful in the first place was its autonomy and freedoms. However, the current political climate raises serious questions about this. As Beijing continues to assert its dominance, the world watches closely to see how Hong Kong will navigate this increasingly complex landscape. So, what do you think lies ahead for Hong Kong? Is there still hope for the one country, two systems principle, or has it already become a relic of the past? Let me know in the comments, but until next time.